at 11:59 p.m. on September 30th. The program that provides most flood insurance in America is scheduled to expire. That is not a typo, and it is not a drill. Mark that date because we are coming back to it. And before you assume Congress will just fix it in time, remember what happened last year. During the government shutdown, this same program actually broke for 43 days straight. 43 days when new flood policies could not be written at all. This is not a hypothetical scenario cooked up for views. Now here is the number that makes timing everything. How much damage can a single inch of floodwater do? On average, $25,000 to a home. And your regular homeowner's insurance pays exactly $0 of that. So in the next few minutes, I will show you what this program is, what happens if it expires, and who stays protected. Then I will give you 3 moves to make right now. Because with a 30-day waiting period in play, waiting is the most expensive thing you can do. Stay with me because the reassurance matters as much as the alarm. First, the basics. The National Flood Insurance Program is the federal government's flood insurance program, run by FEMA. It provides the large majority of flood policies in the United States. If you or your neighbors have flood insurance, odds are this is the program behind it. Think of it as the country's default flood insurer. For decades, it has been the backbone of flood protection in this country. Why does a whole separate federal program even exist? Because regular homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. Period. No homeowner's policy pays for water that floods in from outside. Not reduced coverage, not a high deductible, nothing rain swelling rivers and rising water all fall in the flood bucket. Flood has always required its own policy, and for most of the country that has meant this program. Now the deadline itself, the program's legal authority runs out at 11:59 p.m. on September 30th, 2026. And here's the part that should make everyone uncomfortable. That date lands about 3 weeks after the climatological peak of Atlantic hurricane season. The one expiration date for flood insurance sits right after storm season's biggest month. If that sounds reckless, welcome to the tradition. Before last year, Congress had kept this program alive on short-term extensions roughly 35 times. 35 band-aids instead of one real fix. So the September 30th cliff is not a surprise at all. It is simply the latest round of a very old game. And here is what happened when the music actually stopped. During the autumn 2025 government shutdown, the program spent 43 days in a real lapse. A lapse is when Congress lets the program's legal authority expire. For those 43 days, no new flood policies could be issued. People who suddenly needed coverage that autumn could not get it. The program could not renew existing policies either. Not until Congress acted, certain policy changes and coverage increases were suspended too. Some renewals sat in limbo until the shutdown ended, so if Congress misses the deadline again this year, expect that exact same playbook. Now, the most important split in this whole story. If you do not have flood insurance yet, a lapse freezes the door shut. No new policies can be written until Congress reauthorizes the program. Picture a storm forming in the Gulf, while the sign on the door reads "Closed by Congress." If you were about to buy a house near the water, you were stuck. But if you already have a policy, here is your genuine reassurance. Policies already in force remain valid until their normal expiration date, including a 30-day grace period. Your coverage does not vanish at midnight on September 30th. And policies can even be transferred to new owners when a home sells. That is the part most headlines leave out. What about claims during a lapse? They continue to be paid as long as FEMA has funds. That phrase matters more than it sounds. The program's borrowing authority drops from more than $30 billion to just $1 billion during a lapse. That is the fine print hiding behind the words, "as funds allow." There is one more relief valve worth knowing. During a lapse, most federal lending regulators suspend enforcement of the mandatory flood insurance purchase requirement. In plain English, homebuyers closing during a lapse get breathing room instead of a frozen closing table. So here's the honest recap. New buyers frozen, existing policyholders protected, claims paid as long as the money lasts. That split is the story nobody explains. Panic is not required, but ignoring the calendar is how people get hurt. Congress usually blinks, but nobody can promise you when. Now for the real urgency engine, and it is not the deadline itself. A new policy from this program typically has a 30-day waiting period before coverage begins. So can you buy flood insurance the day before a storm and expect it to pay out? No, you cannot. 30 days is the gap between buying peace of mind and actually having it. A few exceptions exist, like certain map changes or lender-required purchases. But the default is 30 days. Timing rules can differ, so ask before you assume anything. Even if Congress patches everything on October 1st, every week you wait pushes your coverage start date closer to or straight past the next storm. That is the trap hiding inside the headline. And if you're telling yourself this is not my problem because I'm not in a flood zone, hear this. About 25% of flood claims come from low-risk zones. Water does not check the map before it comes through your door. Low risk does not mean no risk. Run the math one more time. 1 inch of water, $25,000 in damage. Coverage under this program caps out at $250,000 for the building and $100,000 for contents. Most people have no idea these caps exist. What about the price tag? FEMA now prices flood risk with a newer method called Risk Rating 2.0. Under it, the median premium must rise from $689 to $1,288 to reach full risk pricing. Congress caps annual increases at 18%, so it is a gradual climb, not a cliff. You also have private flood insurance, which is flood coverage from regular insurance companies instead of the government. Private policies can offer higher limits and sometimes shorter waiting periods. The trade-off is they lack the government's backing in a truly catastrophic year. Smart shoppers compare both. So here are your 3 moves. Move number 1, if you have been thinking about flood insurance, start the process now. The 30-day waiting period means every week you wait pushes your coverage start closer to or past the deadline. Move number 2, if you already have a policy through this program, know your renewal date. And know that a lapse does not cancel your coverage, so do not panic and drop other coverage. Move number 3, everyone, check your flood risk at FEMA's flood map site, and remember your homeowner's policy pays nothing for flood. Bottom line time. The deadline is real, the politics are messy, and the 30-day waiting period is the one part you actually control. If this video helped, subscribe to InsurNerd because we explain insurance without the jargon every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial or insurance advice. Always consult with a licensed insurance professional before making decisions about your coverage.